Hello and welcome to the Insurance Dudes, another playbook. This is Craig Pretzinger, and as promised, we are going to dive into the framework that supports a thriving income plus equity generating agency. Before I dive into that, I want to go to a quick backstory because in the last episode, I talked a little bit about being gone, reflecting on the freedom that's come about in the agency. Now, ultimately, I thought the freedom that has been built with the help of a remarkable team and having some great support, I thought that this came exclusively from installing the telefunnel and from buying the leads and just running the whole telefunnel process. I thought that was it. And it is great because that created forward movement, created the volume, it created the wins that we really hadn't ever experienced. But as I thought about, we've had a lot of agents that have done awesome, done gangbusters, and then we had other agents that haven't been successful. That bugs me when somebody isn't successful using something that we talk about. And I know that we can't want it for people more than they want it, but I started to wonder what differentiated the groups, right? If two sets of folks, one set is successful, the other set isn't successful, and all of the other factors are the same, then what's the difference? And as I tossed and turned, trying not to think about work while I'm on vacation, but it's difficult because I love it. I realized that the environment we got in the agency supported the installation of the telefunnel. We had really optimized pieces of the puzzle that are necessary to foster an environment that's going to create huge results from the telefunnel. Anybody can get great results from the telefunnel, but in order to maintain successful equity producing version of the telefunnel, so let's dive into what those 5 P's are. First is purpose. Second P is principles. What are the principles? What are the guiding lights? The people, who do you have working with you or for you? The processes in place, and then performance, tracking, measuring, and all of those things. These aren't anything new. These are the components of an effective organizational management, having these things in place. And it took us years and years to realize how important all of these pieces were. And I had taken it for granted because we'd gotten these things done, but just didn't have the offense. So I'm going to go a little brief definition and why it's important with each of these P's. And then we'll go deeper in an episode on each one of the P's moving forward. And then there's going to be one in between that we're going to talk a little bit about what stops us from doing it. And I have some examples from my past where we couldn't quite get the things going. And as I look back, some ego involved with some of it, and I'll beat myself up a little bit for you so you can have fun with that. So the first one, purpose. What is purpose? This is your reason why the agency exists and the unique value it brings to your clients and to your team. If you have a clear, well-defined purpose, it's going to provide the direction that your agency goes, and it's going to guide your decision making. So it's kind of your checks and balances, because as you make decisions for your agency and what you're going to do, how you're going to motivate your team, it's important to have the purpose. Any organization has the purpose. Unfortunately, a lot of very large organizations are going to have purpose and they're going to have all these things, maybe not necessarily follow them. One of the reasons why my wife left the place that she had worked prior was the feeling that they don't quite follow the values that they're talking about. But it's real important, right? Because it's what you need to do as a big business, as a big corporation, but not necessarily utilize them in the spirit for which they were developed. We're lucky because we run small businesses and we have a lot more latitude in what we can do. We don't report to the shareholders. We report to ourselves and our team and our clients. So if we have a well-defined purpose, then it's something that our team can talk about with the clients. It's something that oozes from the language they use whilst they're talking to people. Here at the Pretzinger Agency, our purpose is to serve clients, educate them in their insurance, and help them to make the best decision so that they're protected, right? If people understand that our purpose, our passion is to serve them and protect them and their families, that's a lot better than, hey, we're here to get you insurance. No, we're here to serve families in the event something terrible happens. It isn't as catastrophic because you have the insurance in place. I think it's important for you as the agency owner to sit down and think about this. One of the things that I've learned is how important this purpose is. You have to have a purpose-driven organization, and also think about organization. What does that mean, right? It's organized. We're going to really focus on a lot of this. So what's the second thing? Principles, core values that guide your agency's behavior and decision-making. One of the core values that we have here, honesty and ethical behavior behavior. If I have somebody who is writing policies and they're not being honest on the application and doing something to manipulate, which luckily that isn't something that happens. But if it is, then we know we can make a quick decision. This violates our agency's core values. Somebody who violates core values cannot be part of this team. Anybody who cannot follow or think about the core values must go. Are they going to follow the core values? Awesome. That means we're all aligned. If they're not, sorry, we can't have anybody going rogue because that's not going to help us. It's not going to help push towards the purpose. Hope that makes sense. People, the team members who bring their skills, creativity, and dedication to the agency. So we want to bring people who can think, are skilled, and this doesn't necessarily mean they're skilled in insurance. It just means that they're skilled to be able to think critically, to make decisions, somebody who isn't afraid to be daring, but understands and can follow the core values. And we're always going to hire and fire based on these core values, right? So really important. We can always get somebody to understand the product knowledge. They can do all these things. And so we want to find the same folks who have values that align with our agency. That's who we're looking for. One of the things we say about our people is our team at the Pretzinger Agency is our greatest asset. They are our greatest asset because if we don't have them, we don't have a business. Each member is going to bring their own unique skills and perspectives, but that align with the core values. Now, the processes. These are the systematic series of actions that dictate how the agency operates on a daily basis. Why is it important? Because well-defined processes create the roadmap for handling all of the different scenarios that ensures consistency in your agency. We want consistency, right? We don't want to, oh my gosh, this thing happened. And if we don't know how to handle a specific situation, that's fine. We're going to create a process once that situation arises so that we can effectively solve it the same way every time moving forward. Think about McDonald's. What does it do? Somebody who loves McDonald's knows they're going to get the same thing, whether they're in Tuscaloosa or they're in Humboldt County, and they go to McDonald's, they're going to get the same burger. Imagine if the hamburger was totally different every single time, it'd be going like to different restaurants, but that isn't the way it works, right? They've created this process that creates the same product, the same end result every single time. So we've created and established processes for every aspect of the operation. So really important to have the process to create the processes. That's when you're going to create that confidence in the team. The team's going to believe that everybody knows what they're doing. And it really takes a lot of pressure off of me, takes pressure off of you as the agency owner. And finally, the last P is performance. So we are going to constantly track and measure the different things that we do, the different tactics that we install in our agency, everything that can be measured so that we can hold people accountable and hit the results that we need to. So we do regular performance evaluations here at the Pretzinger Agency. We look at metrics daily for the telefunnel, and for service stuff too, we're also looking at anything that we can quantify. So we take that qualitative piece out of it. We want to take the subjectivity out of it. We want to make it very objective. And then it takes emotion away because emotion is not a good friend of business. And anybody who's gotten angry at their team or upset, what I've learned is that I need to be angry at myself. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next episode where we dive into the ego just before we get into the first P. So we will circle back on the next episode. We're going to dive into the things that prevent the P's from being installed. So appreciate you listening. Don't forget to leave a review if you haven't. Thank you. We will talk to you soon.